There was once a boy named Ishan who lived in a small valley surrounded by enormous mountains. Every morning, those peaks stood tall and proud, their snowcaps glistening like silent kings. But to Ishan, they were not kings. They were walls, walls that trapped his village. Walls that whispered, "You'll never get past us." Ishan was the son of a poor shepherd. His father would always say, "Dreams don't feed stomachs, Ishan. Stick to the goats, not the clouds." But deep inside, Ishan felt something else, a pull, a calling. He didn't want to herd goats. He wanted to climb those mountains. He wanted to see what was beyond. Every night, when everyone slept, Ishan would step outside and talk to the mountains. He would whisper, "One day, I'll stand on top of you." The wind never replied, but somehow, he always felt it listening. Years passed. While other kids learned to live with limits, Ishan learned to live with questions. One morning, when the mist was thick and the world still quiet, he packed a small bag, food, water, and a notebook, and began to climb. He didn't tell anyone, not his father, not his friends, not even the mountains. The first few hours were easy, like walking through a dream. Birds flew above him, and the valley looked small. But then came the real climb, cold, steep, merciless. His hands bled, his shoes tore. Every time he slipped, a voice in his head said, "Go back, you're not made for this." But then another voice whispered, quieter, stronger, "Just one more step." When the sun fell, he found a small ledge and built a fire with trembling hands. He looked up. The stars were so close he felt he could touch them. And for the first time, he didn't feel small. He felt infinite. By morning, his food was gone. His water was half empty. The air grew thinner, colder, crueler. At one point, he screamed into the wind, "Why does it have to be this hard?" And for the first time, the mountain answered, not in words, but in echoes. His own voice came back to him, because it matters. That was all he needed. Days later, after what felt like a lifetime of pain, hunger, and silence, Ishan reached the top, and there it was, the world, not just his valley, but endless land stretching into forever. The same mountains that once caged him now looked like stepping stones. He fell to his knees, crying, laughing, gasping for air. And in that moment, he realized something powerful. It wasn't the mountain he had conquered, it was himself. When he returned home, everyone thought he had lost his mind. They saw only a boy, covered in bruises, scars, and dust. But behind those eyes was something new, something unshakable. His father looked at him and said, "Was it worth it?" Ishan smiled. It was the only thing that ever was. Word spread. Soon, other young kids began asking Ishan about the climb. "How did you do it?" they asked. He didn't tell them about the pain. He told them about the first step, because that was the hardest part. Not the climb, not the hunger, not the fear, but believing that the first step was possible. Years later, a path was carved into that same mountain, and at the base of the trail, a small wooden sign stood. It said, "For those who believe the sky starts where fear ends." Signed Ishan, and people came from far and wide. Some climbed halfway, some all the way, some failed, some succeeded, but all of them returned changed, because that mountain wasn't made of stone anymore. It was made of courage. And Ishan, he didn't stop climbing, because he learned something the world often forgets. The goal isn't to conquer the mountain, it's to keep finding higher ones. You see, in life, everyone has their mountain. For some, it's fear. For others, failure. But the truth is, the higher the climb, the stronger you become. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the path. Start with the first step, because the mountain you're afraid to climb holds the view you've always wanted to see.